We ain't listening to the naysayers. This right here, this is for my loyal Silver Wolf main. Let's go. Let's get into this and figure out how we're going to use this one. What's going on, YouTube? Let you here once again. This time at you again with some more Honkai Star Rail. Honestly, I am very, very excited for Silver Wolf to come out next week. It's right around the corner, and I've been prepping for her. I got all the different stuff I need to just level her up to 70 right now. And I was thinking of all the different teams we're going to use her on. I figured I should share those things with you. In terms of building a team, this is one of the main controversies that has been surrounding Silver Wolf. The fact of how are you going to build her teams? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, she needs to be on a mono quantum team. You know, maybe a mono team of a different element, with her being the exception, but mainly a mono quantum team. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that it's that necessary to have a mono team with her. I mean, yeah, it's going to be more convenient when you can do mono teams, and there's just no RNG, what type of weaknesses she can do. But I feel like a lot of people talking about this are talking about it as if the enemy itself doesn't have weaknesses already, right? Because a lot of people need to I feel like are failing to understand, which confuses me a little bit because I feel this is a very obvious thing to try and understand, is the fact that, like, in most cases, usually somebody on your team has a weakness that's already on the enemy. The main issue only comes when it's the main DPS doesn't have their weakness on the enemy. So that's the thing. So sometimes I'll be using this team right here. I'll have Sealy, Bronya, Natasha, and Welt, and the enemy has physical weakness. The enemy has wind weakness, but they don't have quantum, right? So let's take a look here. We'll say we go to Familiar Universe right here, and we're about to face Kafka the boss right here, right? And we have, let's pretend Xing Shui is Silver Wolf, right? So this is the team that we have right here. We want to figure out what's going on with Silver Wolf's skill. What's it going to implant, right? So if we look at Kafka, right? Kafka has physical weakness, she has wind weakness, and she has imaginary weakness. Normally when I'm fighting Kafka, right? I mean, granted, it's not really much of an issue for anymore because it's a similar universe. But when, you know, she was rough for me, the issue was that I had Sealy going against her, but Sealy couldn't break her shield, right? So I had to use my other teammates to do it. But now with Silver Wolf, what element do you think she's going to implant when I come up to Kafka? 100% of the time, she's going to be implanting quantum, right? If I use that team, if I use this team right here, I have 3 different elements on here, and every single time she's going to imply quantum on it. There's no chance right there. And I'm not using a mono quantum team to do that, right? We look at these other enemies. Now she might implant physical on this guy or quantum, right? Right, so let's take a look over here at Silver Wolf's skill, right? So Silver Wolf, what she does is she takes a random type or elemental type, and she implants that onto the enemy, right? So now the big question comes, if there's 2 quantum people on the team and there's 1 physical unit on the team, what happens then? What happens with, is it a 66% chance that we're going to get quantum on there, or is it a 50-50 chance, right? Now, logic tells me that it is a 66% chance it's going to happen, but that is going to take testing, so I can't say that objectively as of right now, but logic is telling me that it's going to be a 66% chance that you're going to be able to plant quantum onto the enemy, okay? So we have a good chance to be able to put quantum onto the enemy. So we're going to be able to put quantum on this enemy right here, right? Most of the time. And if you can't, then of course you just have to use your skill again. And then the second time it's going to be guaranteed that it's going to be quantum now, right? So it's not going to be as big of a deal as people have been making it out to be, at least in my eyes, right? In terms of planting her skill, planting her weakness on her. That's not really her issue at all. She does have an issue though. I do think, and it may be fixed So that's what we're gonna have to see when she comes out. And I won't beat around the bush. Actually, I'll say that I do feel that the issue that she may have is the fact that when a weakness is already implanted and you try and refresh it, like let's say you're facing Kafka and it's guaranteed to be quantum, so you decide to do a little bit more damage, or you decide to try and refresh the skill, because it only lasts for 3 turns, and you try and refresh it and put the quantum back on there. There is a chance that it can, the second time around, that it can just go for one of the innate weaknesses on there, right? Now, granted, because this happens if you try and use Silverwolf in the tutorial stage, she does do that. But keep in mind that is an early version of Silverwolf, so that might not make it to live, right? Let's hope it doesn't. But that would be her issue, right? Otherwise, I think she's good to go. The type of teams that I think Silverwolf is going to work on isn't so much mono teams, right? But more so, I think she's going to work on just single target teams, period, right? Because based on the ruling that I just went through, and I'd say that you want to at least have 2 allies, 2 teammates that have the same type to kind of make your chances greater and for her to be able to put that weakness onto the enemy. When it comes to erudition units like Jingwan, you don't want her on there because she only can do that to one enemy at a time. And you don't want to keep using her skill on every single enemy, and then each time she does it, it might not even be, lightning for Jingwan, So what you want to be able to do is, instead, you want to be able to focus on one enemy at a time. So she is a Nihility unit that is so focused, I feel, that is so focused on helping single target damage dealers, most likely hunt characters, okay? So let's take a look at the hunter characters, how she's going to work with them, right? So, as I already said, let's pretend that the Xing Shui is going to be Silverwolf, okay? So now, this is the team that I'm going to be using, right? You might not have Bronya, that's okay. You can put any other buffer on there, whether it's Ting Yun or Asta, or whoever else you want to put on there. But this is a team I'm going to be using right here when it comes to that. I think she's going to be a wonderful asset for Sealy. And I think this is going to be a great way to be able to use her right here, okay? So this is going to be one team right here that I'm going to be able to use. Another team. Now, if you are lucky enough to have Bronya, this is going to be an amazing team also if you have Bronya but you don't have Sealy, right? If you have Bronya and you don't have Sealy, this is going to be another good team here for you right here. You have Don Hung and Bronya, both win characters, and now there's a good chance that Silverwolf is going to implant wind onto the character, right? Because if they already have quantum weakness, if they already have physical weakness, or if they just have one or the other weakness, it's still going to be a large chance she's going to be able to put wind on. So following the same rules that we were talking about before. So it's going to be another team right there. And now, another team that you can use with her right here. Now let's say you have Yang Qing as your hunt unit, right? So you have Yang Qing as your hunt unit. Now you can use Yang Qing, Pella, right? And now I put March on here, but I don't know if March is going to be enough for defense unless you can really break those shields fast. It actually might work with March, but in this situation, I'm actually pretending that March is Japard because I don't have Japard, right? So now you don't have to have all 3 ice on here, but it actually would be preferable to have 3 ice on there to really hammer it home that she's going to be able to put ice onto the enemy. All kinds of freezing going on and everything like that, and that's going to be great. So that's going to be a real good pick for her too right there, right? Because now you're going to be able to apply all this ice onto the enemy, and the enemy is going to be susceptible to ice thanks to Silverwolf, right? So that's going to be another good team right there, whether it's March or Japard. March may be able to do it, but it might be tough trying to make sure that she stays alive. May want to put March over here and constantly put the shield on herself and treat her as if she's a fire MC or something. But yeah, here we go. I'd rather have Japard in there though, right? And of course, you'd put Japard on the end if you have him. So yeah, so that's another team right there for you right there that she's going to be able to be good in. Another single target team. And then here's another one. Here's another one right here, right? So you can have Su Sheng, whatever harmony unit that you have right here, right? And then you have Natasha. Now Natasha is a physical unit. So now that's doubling up physical right there, so raising your chances of picking physical. And then you have her right there, right? So now you can do either one. And even on this team, let's say if you do have Asa on the team, Asa is pretty good at breaking shields too. So even if you add the fire on there, that's still a win right there. So this is still going to be a really good chance. This is really going to be a good team for her right there, right? So I think you're starting to get, hopefully you're starting to get the idea of what I mean, what type of team she's going to be able to work on. Just try and make sure you have multiple of the same element on the team to try and minimize the RNG of her skill. And if you're able to do that, she's going to be a wonderful asset on your single target teams, right? Now, if she can't add the weakness to everybody on the team, that's okay. As long as if you're fighting bosses, even if they summon ads or anything like that, if they summon mobs, as long as you have that weakness on the main boss itself, when it's time to hit the boss, then you're going to be able to hit the boss hard, right? So that's going to be a good thing right there. So yeah, so that's going to be a few ideas when it comes to teams for Silverwolf. And as we get more units, as we get more hunt characters, you know, this is going to expand more and more. And then when we can start doing more of those mono element teams, she's going to gain even more value, right? Because the thing about Silverwolf is, I don't want to mislead you and say that, oh, you should get Silverwolf over Luocha. Because if you don't have a second healer, I really think you should get a second healer. But in terms of the future of the game, in the future, I do feel that Silverwolf is going to do something unique for you. She's going to give you freedom of choice. Because in this game, you're trying to cover as many bases, as many types as you can, right? In order to cover different things. But Silverwolf is a unit that's going to make that easier for you. Because let's say you have Sealy, right? But you don't have an imaginary hunt damage dealer, right? Now, Silverwolf, you don't care if an imaginary person comes up, you don't want to get him. It doesn't matter because you can always just add the weakness onto whatever enemy with Silverwolf. So I feel that that's what makes her really good for the future right there. I feel like people aren't paying attention to that. They're more concerned with the minor nerf that she might have gotten, where she doesn't debuff as many turns she used to, but the amount of turns she debuffs now is perfectly fine, or whatever other things that might have happened to her and such within the beta. I try not to pay too much attention to leaks, at least for this game, because I don't want to get spoiled on story, because they kind of mesh together with those type of leaks. But yeah, but those are some of the things I want to kind of get out there. So if you are planning on getting Silverwolf, if you like the character, like I was saying before, if you like the character, go ahead and get them. So if you like Silverwolf and you're getting her, here's some good teams that you can be able to use on her. I just always advise using her with a hunt character and try and have another element of the same type as that hunt character on the team to try and maximize your chances of applying that weakness, all right? Let me know what you guys think. Did this help you out, guys? Do you have some teams in mind that you can be able to use Silverwolf and, you know, any things that I didn't mention, you know, put them down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking of, what type of teams you're going to put Silverwolf on, you know. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, if you do want more content. I'm going to be testing Silverwolf out. So if you do want to see me testing her out and what I'm going to be able to find about Silverwolf, definitely subscribe so you can see that content with you there and see the testing and the result of the testing there. And like the video if you like the content and comment your thoughts down below. And with that, I'll end it there. Let you know.